My goal is for them to do 80 to 90% of the talking, and I'm just doing the 10%. And that 10%, what's on the script.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Closing Table again. I am Scott Snofke, Direct Marketing Coach here with REIPrintMail. What my thought process is with Closing Table is to bring you very good closers inside of the industry, which I know. Friends of mine, people that I've heard close, I've watched close on stage, and I have a very special guest of mine today, Ky Logue, who is one of the best closers that I know. I watched him actually close deals live on stage, call, close, and prosper from that deal right there within a few minutes on stage. He's one of the best I know. So, real quickly, I want to dive into his brain of what his expectations are as soon as that phone rings and the seller answers the phone. So, hello, Real Estate Syndicate, investor plug, all kinds of accolades behind. But let's get into this closing model. This is one of my favorite subjects of industry is how do we take a known seller, a lead, and convert it into a contract? So, with that being said, Ky, so get into conversations with the person. What are you trying to do inside of that phone call?
Yeah, so my strategy is a lot different than a lot of stuff that people say or that's popular, I guess, in the industry right now. So I love sales. I'm very passionate about it. Something I always learn, trying to get better. It's the first thing in my life I was ever good at. So it's got a special place in my heart. But yeah, for me, that when I get on the call with the seller, I'm almost like a detective. I'm trying to figure out what's their situation, what's their motivation, what's going on. I think obviously you have to have a good intro so you can get to it. But the most important part are those qualification questions. And, I don't really care as much about, I don't want to be transactional, because if it's just transactional and I'm just asking, what's the condition? What price do you want? We'll move on. One, I'm not going to build any reports. They're just going to think it becomes a monetary thing. It's just about money. And then I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. So more, I'm trying to figure out what's their pain point. What are they going through? What are they trying to solve? Why are they talking to me? Why aren't they talking to a real estate agent? Why aren't they going traditional model? And I ask these questions, and they're harder questions a lot of people try to avoid, or just skip past, which if you have a bunch of leads coming in, you can. But for me, I just value every lead, paying for it. I'm trying to get the most out of every person I talk to. So really my goal is to find out what's going on, more information the better. And then can I help them and see what solution would work best, whether it's a traditional wholesale offer or something creative. For me, I'm just trying to figure out the situation and what's going on with the seller.
So basically off of that first call, as soon as you get on with them, it's you ask them what, hey, do you own the property at such address? Hey, what's going on with that? From that conversation, then why are you looking to potentially sell on, off market instead of going to the MLS? What's the distress side of their situation? Is it financial? Is it more physical? Is the property in distress where they can't financially fix it? Or is it beyond their abilities, things of that nature? Is that what you're digging into?
Yeah, kind of. So I have a process I follow, a system, a script I built out that I've used in multiple industries, works super well for me. I'm actually giving it out for free if anybody wants it. But so basically the first thing I do is I think the intro is the most important part, because that's when you earn permission to get past, and just being quick to the point. Hey Scott, this is Ky Logue giving you a call. Looks like you reached out to get an offer on your property. How you doing today? Great. I just want to ask you a couple quick questions, and then boom, I already moved on. I said who I am. I set the agenda, what we're going over. So I want to do that 3-4 seconds. You want to make sure you have that on point, especially if you're cold calling, or really just in general. It's more important cold calling just because there's more resistance there. You want to sound like you're professional. You want to get to the point, but not too overly professional, still conversational. Then, like I said, I think the most important part is the qualification question. So I ask these questions. I do them in a series. There's a specific order to it in the script. Is I call them softballs to fastballs. So they're easier questions to harder questions, and especially more important on cold calling, or in general, just anyone you're talking to, just keep in mind their guard is up. They don't want you to know the price. They don't want to tell you their story. They don't know who you are. Their guard is up, and it's your job to kind of get past that, and then just help make a decision one way or the other. The first question is hey, so I'm looking at your house on Zillow. It looks like it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Is that right? And that's an easy yes or no tie down question. And when they know how I got the info, I'm looking at it on Zillow, because sometimes you'll talk to other people how did you get that and stuff too. So every way I word it and every word, there's a meaning behind it. So oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then I slowly start to ask harder questions. Okay, awesome. Is it just you on the deed? Are there any other decision? I don't say decision makers, but that's what I'm going for. Is just you on there? Are there anybody else on the deed? No. So a couple tie downs, and then I transition more open-ended ones towards the end of that. My first discovery. It's so let me ask. Seems like great property. Why are you looking to sell? Or what made you decide to reach out today? And these open-ended ones, if you ask them right and then pause. A lot of people just want to fill in the space, then just don't like that awkward silence. But that awkward silence is a closer's best tool and best friend. friend. So just give them space to talk and just get them talking. My goal is for them to do 80 to 90% of the talking, and I'm just doing the 10%. And that 10%, what's on the script. And that script's there. I don't have to follow it verbatim, but it's a structure. So if we ever get off topic, we can go back to where we're supposed to be in that straight line from point A to Z to next step. But yeah, that's basically it. And then we go into price. I get them pay what price. I'll ask 5 or 6 times, what kind of price you can get on this? Like, oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to see what I can get. They'll give you like like, oh, okay. But you'll be surprised if you keep asking the same questions. Don't do it exactly the same way, but if you just keep asking the same question a little bit different, you'll get an answer. And it's super valid for me, so I'll keep going.
Is key on that. Often people say that the person who puts the number up first is the one who loses the conversation, and people try to hide behind that. But if you continue to ask, they all have a number in their head, whether they know that number is correct or not, or if it's there, it's the number that's going to help them. And oftentimes, a good percentage of the people that are out there are not familiar with real estate to begin with. We all assume we are based off of Zillow or Redfin or Realty.com. We can go there and see what our price is, but that's the house in fixed condition. Most of the time these houses are in distress. They don't understand how much it's going to cost to repair it. They're actually rooting around in the dark. You're the professional there, so you can come to them and turn the lights on. And in turning the lights on, then all of a sudden they can see what the issues are, and they could potentially see a solution. In doing that, by getting through potential solution, they're going to be lowering their guard and kind of leaning into you as a person that could potentially fix it. So I love that entry, the first minute or so you do the talking to introduce yourself, to get their guard lowered, and those open-ended questions, they're going to start to do the majority of that talking. I love it. Where can they find, you mentioned a script, where can they find that script?
Yes, if you go to scripts, so it's plural scripts.wholesalingsyndicate.com, fill out the form, put your email in, we'll send it over to you, or you can just reach out to me if you can't find it, Ky Logue, anywhere on social media. But it should be on the Wholesaling Syndicate.com main site too. But again, scripts.wholesalingsyndicate.com.
Wholesaling Syndicate ads, closures, and that's your private mastermind group that teaches and coaches inside of your group. So you guys go over calls and stuff like that to fine tune your skills and learn from each other, right?
We do. Yeah, I think it's one of the best ways to practice, and we do it all in there. So I have the mastermind, syndicate, the mastermind. But yeah, so we'll do, I think the best ways to get better at this is one, get reps in, but you never really want to practice on the leads, because that's where the money is. You put money on that. You don't want to mess it up. So I think the best ways to do it without practice on the money is one, colder stuff, two, like role playing, because it's like incorrect reps are just going to train you to keep doing bad stuff and form bad habits. So you want to get like perfect repetition in. So that's why I think it's so important to have a good script, but have someone to role play with. So we'll do role playing calls with each other. We'll practice. One person will be the customer, one person will do it, and it's awkward at first. No one likes to do it at first, but it kind of, as you do it a bit, it gets fun, it gets easier, and you'd much rather mess up there, because there's no money on the line. And it's kind of fun being the customer too, because like you can say, hey, this is the objection I keep getting, how are you going to handle this? And usually people are like, oh, what do you like this one? They think it's almost like impossible to overcome in their head, and you realize there's only like 5 or 6 different objections, and usually they all boil down to the same thing, which is trust. But it's role playing, and then recording your calls. So just make sure you're recording your calls. I make sure I record all my calls, because sometimes I'll have calls like, oh, that went great, and I listen to it, I'm like, oh, it wasn't as great as I thought it did. And then, or vice versa, I'm like, oh, and I could have done better just because I didn't get the deal, and also do it. My God, I did everything correctly. They're not all going to go.
Yeah, and that's big things I talk about with the younger generation and the people that are just getting started inside of the industry. Is one of my favorite things to do, and how I got better at my conversations. One, recording. The first time I listened to a recording, I didn't even recognize the person on the recording. I stopped and was like, no, my personality wasn't coming out. I was laid back in the chair when I had the conversation. It did not come through. So recordings are phenomenal. And then an easy way to practice is friends and family too, is to go try to, buy your neighbor's house. Go practice on, asking those questions to random people. I did it a lot in explaining that what my career was, what my job was. People didn't understand wholesaling. So at the same time, I could sit there and practice on them, and they would ask me questions back regarding why picking wholesale, going to the MLS and things of that nature. So, pick and choose who to practice on, but practice, because, ultimately that makes perfection. And able to move around in the conversation a lot better. It took me a long time to get in front of it. I had to watch a lot of those and things of that. We can find you on Facebook, Ky Logue, Kylogue. And where else can we find you for people who like and follow you?
Yeah, so I'm Ky Logue everywhere. So just KY and then space LOGUE. And then so it's Wholesaling Syndicate. So we just redid our site, new site, shorter domain. So just wholesalingsyndicate.com. You'll find links to everything. Our Facebook group, where do you free trainings and answering questions people have in there, and do live cold calls. And yeah, pretty much everywhere. Type in my name, type in Wholesaling Syndicate, and yeah, you'll find us.
Gotcha. I know I love to follow you on Wednesday night calling, and I point a lot of my younger students in that direction to say, hey, if you want to see, a perfectionist or a really good person in action as to closing, not all phone calls always go through, but you still have random conversations and you can learn from them for free. So I follow you for that example, and I always look forward to any conversation I get with you because I always feel like I walk away with something that I've learned from that conversation. So I appreciate you jumping on with me today with the closing table. If anybody wants to follow my Facebook, Instagram, Real Estate Syndicate, you can learn. He's so easy to talk to and is just such a quality individual inside of this space. Trust it. So feel free. Thanks for joining us today. Ky, anything else you got going on?
No, I love it, man. Thanks for having me on, and this is great, man. I really enjoyed it.
All right. I look forward to our next conversation. We'll catch up with you then. Thanks, Ky. Bye.